In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint a fall and autumn forest scene in acrylics, step by step. I'm going to be posting a brand new painting tutorial every week, so make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out. Leave a comment below and let me know what you would like the next tutorial to be. I also have a Patreon where you can support the channel further and get studio updates from me. We've got a really lovely close-knit community growing there where I can chat to each of you, so I will link to my Patreon page in the description box. But for now, let's get into today's painting tutorial, how to paint a fall and autumn forest scene in acrylics. The colours I'm using are crimson, orange, yellow, hooker's green, ultramarine blue, raw umber and titanium white. And I've got a selection of different brushes, but you can use whatever you've got lying around. I would recommend though having a smaller round brush and also a fan brush for this tutorial. I'm using a canvas board as it's really easy to store and great for practicing on, and I really recommend these for tutorials and for different exercises that you can practice your painting skills with. And the reference photo will be in the description box if you'd like to download it to follow along. But if not, feel free just to use my tutorial, that's absolutely fine. And let's get started. So I'm going to take my biggest brush here and just dampen it a little bit with some water. Just take off the excess water with a paper towel or some sort of rag. And first of all, the first layer I want to be doing is I'm going to go straight in with the white. And I'm going to pop white in up to about here. This is just going to be for the background so that the leaves really create a nice contrast on top. And next, for the bottom part, I'm just going to create like a beige sort of colour that we're going to be using for the background. And this is going to be mostly painted over, so don't worry too much about it. It's just to create a surface to work on top of. So I'm just using some white with the raw umber to create this just sort of a beigey tone really. And I'm just going to work that up to about here. And then this is going to be a tree line, so I don't want it to be too straight. So using my brush, just up and down, I'm just going to like sort of blend that out. As I say, you probably won't even be able to see this anyway because we'll be painting on top of it. But just in case, let's just blend that out. And you can even use some white to blend that in more to the background surface. Okay, lovely. I'm going to rinse off my brush and I'm going to wait for that to completely dry. So next, taking my fan brush, we're going to build up some of that background and some of the layers of trees that we can see. So just dampen your brush off in some water and take off the excess. First, we're going to go in with a similar tone to this, but slightly darker, so a little bit more raw umber, but still a bit of white. So we don't want it so that we've got too much on the brush. So try and make it so that you still can see the individual hairs on the brush and you've not got, you know, a big glump of it. Otherwise you won't see the nice strokes from the brush. And I'm just going to take that up. We might need a little bit of water there. A bit dry. I'm just going to take that up in the direction of the fan brush. And I'm just going to like further blend out that line. I want to sort of create the illusion of trees in the background, so that's what we're doing here. And then going to go into some green now. I'm going to take some white and we're going to sort of mix it into this mixture that we've been using already. And because it's quite green, I'm going to add just a little bit of the red to take that down a little bit, take the saturation levels down. And then using a sideways motion, I'm going to move from side to side just to add in the foliage. And then taking that same colour, just using my fan brush horizontally, just going to bring some of that foliage up into that horizon. So I feel like the backdrop is starting to come together a bit more. I'm just going to rinse off that brush. Next, let's go in with some oranges now, and let's really start building this up. So I'm taking some orange. I'm going to add a little bit of the raw umber just to darken that. So I've got like a warm brown. And I'm going to start taking that into the scene now. And I'm just really using the shape of the brush and the bristles to try and create a really naturalistic tree leaves coming down, which is kind of hard to replicate. But using these brushes can definitely help. And I'm also going to take that colour down here into the path as well. I know it kind of looks a little bit messy at this point, but this is really like the background layers that are going to make a really big difference. Okay, and rinse out that brush. Next I'm going to take the orange again, but I'm going to add in a little bit of yellow to create this really nice vibrant colour. And once again, I'm just going to carry on building up the trees. So I'm going to swap brushes now. I'm going to start with my smaller round one now. Just dampen that and take off the excess like normal. And I'm going to be popping in the trees now, the tree trunks. So I'm taking some of the raw umber. I'm going to really start to build it with the tree trunks. Just along some of these trees, I'm going to take some raw umber with some white, just to create like a light brown. And then I'm just going to go over like one side of the tree just to give it a bit of depth. And then with the same colour, I'm just going to create, this is going to be like sort of a path, an autumn path. I think we need to add a bit more white into that. I think we need to add a little bit more on this foreground here now. So I'm gonna take a bigger brush again, and we're just gonna like build up these layers. So taking some green, some white, a bit of orange, and then with the fan brush, I'm going to create a really nice light colour, maybe light green with a little bit of orange in. And using the fan brush again, just going to sort of build up some like abstract-y foliage. And then of course I want to do the same thing with orange, so taking some white and orange, and probably a little bit of yellow as well. Let's build up those like fallen leaves that have fallen onto the ground. I'm also going to take that colour, let's add a bit more yellow, white and orange. I'm also going to take that colour into the trees a little bit. So you can see how it really starts to like build together. It's just a case of adding lots of layers because you want all those beautiful colours to shine through. I'm going to take a really light colour now, maybe with a bit of orange to it. Just for the path, just to add in a little bit of warmth. And then taking the fan brush, I want to really bring that orange in now, because we haven't actually used orange straight from the tube yet. So this is obviously like the most intense orange you can get because it's straight out of the tube. So I'm going to take some of that. We want to use this carefully, we don't want to go crazy with it. But I do want to really bring in like those saturation levels. So I'm not going to put like tons of it in. Just in little areas to really make it zing. And also I'm going to do that on the path too. So now I just want to go in and like refine bits at this point. Everyone's will look a little bit different. I want to take some white and just like sort of build back in the background again. So just using white to sort of carve out some of the areas that we may have painted over. And now I'm just using some of that yellow to add in some little details onto the floor, like little leaves that may have fell, and just adding in some little of those yellow areas to bring in the trees. I'm also going to take some of that raw umber and take that into the floor down here, because obviously we're going to have bits of shadow. And so to create a bit of a contrast, I'm going to add in some little areas of that. Especially around the path line. And lastly, I'm just going to add in some little details with the burnt umber to create a bit more of a contrast, and just to like sort of finish off some little areas that might feel like it needs a little bit more refinement. Okay, and I think that's my autumn scene done. Let me know in the comments what tutorial you guys would like to see next. And if you'd like to support me, you can go and check out my Patreon page, and that's the best place for behind the scenes and getting more of a glimpse into what I do as an artist. So thank you so much today. Hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.